Okay, on 3, 2, 1.
I just caught a vibe with you, baby. Can't wait till I'm inside of you, baby. Waking up inside of you, baby. I just caught a vibe with you, baby. Can't wait till I'm inside of you, baby.
What's up, Powerheads and Kananites? We're back with Arcade 9. Ready to start it off as usual. Getting busy is your boy E. Etherly and your boy G Money. And let's get right into it. Here we are. We're at the hospital. Rock is like sitting out there outside the waiting room. And who shows up?
Symphony shows up, man. That is a relentless dude, man. I don't know what's going on.
Well, they were okay for a minute until she ghosted him recently, right?
Yeah, but I think, like what we saw in that episode, in that scene in particular was her realizing that she had gotten soft and that she'd allowed her emotions to start to get the best of her. She let her guard down. And so, we were able to see her take her power back in the situation.
Yeah, but then she's shutting off everything else that could be powerful for her. So meanwhile, she's like, go fuck some co-eds and, all this other shit. So she finally got under Symphony's skin. Because first, Symphony's trying to tell her, I know who you are. I love who you are. And she's like, nah, this is a fantasy. And he's like, bam! So, and by the way, he's stepping off. And she's like, oh, you got some spine and whatnot. And then I was like, man, why the extra shot? And on his way out, though, he's still true to the game, true to the fam. He gives her a little warning.
He dropped a little dime.
He came up with that info. What kind of info did he come up with?
You better watch out for that little girl running that club. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, Tony. Because he spied that whole little thing with the cops and all that. And it's really, he said it quite succinctly. That's all he really needed to say. Telling Marvin not to trust her.
But at the end of the day, though, Marvin already knew he couldn't trust her based on the conversation. She wasn't stupid. The second she started asking him to get specific, that's when Marvin was like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm not doing this right now. I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's true. It's like we're watching the reascension of Marvin. It's like he takes 2 steps forward and then he takes 1 step back. So let's shoot right ahead to his next big step. He's got the Tommy gun. And I thought it was a Gatling gun because I saw the bullets and they clink, 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 clink. It's pretty much the same thing. It's like a handheld howitzer almost.
Yeah. Hey, he pulled up on the scene in that van and he was dumping.
He's airing it out.
One thing we knew though was that as early as it was in the episode, and also by knowing that there's going to be a second season, we knew that he wasn't going to get him. And we saw the car was bulletproof, and so he was able to survive the hit. But we now know that that's going to start a major war.
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you, man. I'm saying it's possible Unique may not make it out of the first season.
I think it's possible, but not probable. And the reason why I say that is if we see, if you watch the previews of the next episode, certain people are still in attendance, I'll say, in the next episode. And I think that is going to, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I think that is going to keep him around for a little bit.
All right, so getting back to Marvin, man, the way he was like dumping, man, really, it was amazing. He was kidding, Unique was put his kid in the seat and he turned around and the bullets, like 8 of them sprayed the windshield that Unique was right behind. And that's a hella bulletproof windshield. It take all those hits close range like that. But meanwhile, he sprays a lot of lead, but he only gets 1 dude, and that was the Milk Dud dude. Remember the Milk Dud dude?
Yeah, I remember the Milk Dud dude, yeah. But I mean, I think the reason why he only got 1 dude was because he focused his entire effort on Unique, when at the point in which you realize that it's bulletproof, I feel like he should have just changed his efforts and started to go after the other dude. Yeah, the rest of them, because if you take the rest of them out, Neek's not going to have any protection going forward, whereas now all you did was you just sprayed up Neek's car, got 1, and it was like 20 of them that were there that are all now pissed off.
Yeah, except for Milk Duds.
Yeah, well, he's the only one he's not pissed off.
Milk Duds all over the parking lot. So, move forward though, he puts his like little sleuthing capabilities to the test again, and again he wins because he's like, the streets are talking to Little Rob after they finish the job. And sure enough, he pops one in him. And I thought that was kind of like ingenious when he was, or just funny as hell, really. When he was talking to Rock later, he's like, it turns out Unique's car is as bulletproof as they were saying. But I guess a little Rock skull ain't.
What's funny is the first time through I watched the episode, I had some other noises going on in the background. I didn't quite hear what Symphony said. And so I thought Symphony might have dropped a dime on, some way, somehow on Little Rob. And I realized, no, I went back. But they knew, that he had snitched on Kanan because Rock was told. You know what I mean? Like Rock was told what happened. And so to me, that was a very interesting concept that they took Lil Rob with him for the hit, knowing that if he gets hit while we're going after this, doesn't really matter because he's gonna be dead anyway. So he could drive the van.
Yeah, Detective Howard spilled the beans on that joint. So right in the park. Yeah, so she already knew. So, the way to put it in play. So it looks like maybe they had a little communication before they had a little falling out, I would guess. So that part was cool. And then, they had come to Jesus moment, where they're up in the church. And church is playing a pretty big role in this episode. They're like, we got to be family again. And, they go through the little bitches and their little arguments and differences. And you got to listen more. And he's like, it's hard taking orders from you. I raised you and Lulu. And then she said, yeah, but you stepped off, so I had to step up. But I thought that was cool because, it looked like he was playing the role of a kid who was being a father. But at the same time, later on, we see the moms in the church. And it's like, uh-oh, because at first I thought, she was off on some drugs or something like that. And maybe she was, but the deal is that she obviously started a whole new life that didn't include rock and wrestling.
I think the biggest thing to me about that scene was, and his acting was amazing during the scene, but he really, he was like, I just want to be respected as a man, and especially as a man who did what I did for this family already. Like, I may have made a mistake, but that doesn't negate everything that I've done, for this entire family. And, his biggest thing was he just wanted respect.
And that's it. And I think he really does deserve a lot of respect. He messing up from time to time, man. And we're going to get into his mess up of the whole series in like 2 seconds. But for the most part, man, he seems to be on the ball in a lot of different ways, more so than a lot of the other characters.
I definitely agree with you on that. I think that out of everybody, he definitely, up until a certain part in this episode, was clear-headed and more focused than just about anybody.
But even with that, man, just right after the assassination attempt, he cleaned up Little Robin and Mystery Van pretty good. No Scooby. Oh,
he did.
He did.
He lit that van on fire and blew it up, and so there's not gonna be any evidence left in that van.
No. But I thought he missed an opportunity because you saw the big wooden case that was inside the van, right?
Yeah.
That's ammo, right?
That's why it exploded, yeah.
No, but it exploded, but it should have been like exploding like that with the bullets going off.
Yeah, it's interesting as a big gun guy, and I've never obviously taken a bullet and lit it on fire to see what's going to happen.
I advise you not to.
It would be interesting to see if the gunpowder going off actually will do what it's supposed to, considering it's not getting lit by by the primer and all that. I feel like that's for the movies. I feel like the explosion of the gunpowder is actually probably a little bit more realistic than bullets going off and flying all over the place.
No, but see, remember they're individual casings.
I know.
And, they got the stuff inside of them, so it makes sense that they would pop off sequentially. That's how I'm thinking. But anyway, so we just talked about Marvin taking a lot of steps forward, and then he's trying to get Kanan all primed up, and Ken is like saying his new favorite phrase. How Ghost and Tommy used to always have their little phrase, "What the fuck? What the fuck, Tommy?" Well, looks like Kanan got one, and he said it about 4 times here, so. I don't know, maybe I'll get the 4 phases of Kanan's for real, for real, for real, for real. Because he said it like 4 times. I was like, damn, get that boy some scripts or something. Because he was like amazed that they came after Lulu in the hospital. He's like, for real. And then so he's talking to Marvin about his taste in music, and he's like, for real? It sounds like history. It's like too much for real. So he's going ahead, and after the for real moments, he goes back there. He's trying to get some new music so Kanan can bounce to it when he's out in these streets. And he goes to Juke's room, on Kanan's advice, and he sees some stuff. He sees some pictures, doesn't he?
He saw the pictures, and then, he was trying to open that drawer, and she hid the video underneath of the drawer with all the pictures, and so the drawer got stuck. And so, once he got it out, he started seeing the pictures, and then he played the video.
Every time I close my eyes, I think of you.
He saw the video, and I think he lost it. Oh. And I was very surprised. I was very surprised to see Power go that direction, considering that,
motherfuckers say
what we know. I mean, it was the 80s. I get it, but I was very surprised to see him go that direction. Especially as far as they went with the two of them getting into a physical altercation. That was crazy.
It's the thing, man. In public and things like that, you really weren't exposed to that. Like, to give you an example, coming up in the 80s, like we had, there was a gay club and they had like a soul night, like every Wednesday and whatnot. And that's when everybody would roll in their joint. And once in a while, you might see a gay cat here or a gay cat there, but it wasn't like super prevalent. So, you didn't really see that stuff, as prevalent as you do today, where everybody's mixing together and, people are coming out of the closet and people are feeling free to express themselves, because back then it was kind of rough, bro. I'm not going to call it Jamaica in the 80s, but I'm going to say it was kind of tough to come out, in the closet back then. But so he was definitely, because you already know, Marvin is in a mold. He's stuck in a mold. Remember what happened when Tony tried to cuddle with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, niggas don't cuddle. You know what I mean? It's like, get them cuddling niggas. Yeah. So he's stuck in the macho mode, man, and he just doesn't know anything outside of that bubble. So, that explains his reaction a little bit. It's you think it would have been tempered to a certain extent by the fact that Juke is his daughter, but apparently quite the opposite.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I mean, if you were to spit into any other man's face, or woman for that matter of fact, I mean, that is such an ultimate level of disrespect.
I agree. But before that, remember, he did call her a girl faggot and say,
he did call her,
are you Lebanese? And I'm like, what? Like, we got falafels popping up in here? So,
he didn't even know what to call it. He didn't even know.
Lebanese.
He called her,
like,
said,
wow.
Like some girl faggot?
He's Middle Eastern. But then he insulted Nicole and said that she belonged in hell or to get what she got. And that was it. He stabbed her. He stabbed her in the heart. So something was coming, and it just happens to be a big glob of.
I would say that was one of the more violent fight scenes, that we might have seen in Raising Kanan, or even for the majority of the show. I mean, especially considering that it was, Marvin and his daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, he choked her. He had his arms around, he had his hands around her neck long enough that
she was going out.
She dropped to the ground. She was going out. But I will say, though, she was giving him a little bit of work for a second.
She got some ones and some twos, man.
Hey, she was
got
giving a little bit of work for a second, yeah.
But he put the Cobra clutch on her before she got the biscuit. No jelly, no butter, nothing. Yeah, so now she rolled out, and it's probably the end of their relationship, at least for a long period of time. So she hits the streets and whatnot. Now, before this even happened, because that's where she got some bruises on her grill, because they were mixing it up. She's out there. She's, visiting Nicole at the gravesite and all that. The parents are wilding out. Well, not even the parents. The mom is wilding out.
It's really just the mother. It's really just the mother. She's being a very typical Karen. Being a Karen. And
you called it. Thank you.
The husband is more so like, hey, we got to move on with our lives. But
also looking at it rationally, because she's spitting all this stuff like, Laverne's brought her the drugs and all these things that she doesn't know, but she suspects. Yeah. And you got to ask yourself one question. I think Nicole whipped out a pipe. Now, maybe that had not been used for crack, but I'm pretty sure she was smoking some burger.
I don't know if you can smoke both of the same things out of the same type of pipe, but she did whip out the necessary tools to be able to.
A pipe is a glass instrument that you put a substance in and you light underneath.
Like I said, I don't know if you can smoke both of them off the same thing. I'm just saying. She had
Eric, I saw you smoking both of them last night. Stop.
You didn't. But she like I said, she had the required paraphernalia.
She's got the Perry.
She's got the Perry.
Yeah. So in other words, she ain't no stranger to the game. I don't think, or wasn't a stranger.
No, not at all.
So the dad was like, "We don't know this. We don't know this. We don't know this." And so I thought that was pretty level-headed of him. And he also saw, how much the jukebox cared about and how much she's just totally torn up by the whole situation. So moving forward, though, she's at the gravesite. We still haven't got to the point where the mix-up happened between her and Dad. And who pops up? Who's going solo against Detective Howard's wishes?
His partner, man. She's showing up. I mean,
a rookie.
Rookie showing up and playing to the,
gay
she's
card.
trying to play the juke. Yeah, she was.
The gay card. Megan Crawley.
Yeah, she pulled that card trying to become friends with her. I mean, I think this is where
she's the person who showed me who I am, and so she hits it with that, and then like 3 ices later, she's drilling her about crime in the streets, and Tupac's like, oh no, gotta go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is where we're going to start to see Jukes transition towards what we saw, in Power of that crooked cop, because she grew up in a bad environment, but then her dad pissed her off when he fought her. So, she's going to go off, we're now kind of starting to see how this crooked cop drug user could come out of what Juke was back then.
Yeah.
To what we saw in Power.
She's getting hardened. The nails are coming in the coffin, and I don't mean her death. I mean the death of her old self. Wham, Nicole. Wham, she's like being harassed by this cop. Wham, she goes and she talks to Rock, and she fesses up everything that happened. And Rock is like, hey, sometimes cops are good friends to have. And then, so you're like, okay, well, maybe she left it at that, but we'll go a little bit further and say, well, maybe she didn't. Because later on, what's happening is they meet again, and she's like, who put those bruises in your face? And she's like, I don't want to talk about that, but Unique's coming for the cops. All of y'all, and none of y'all say. Here we go. Your boy Detective Howard, he's out there in the street. He's got to get a cigarette smoke in, even though he's dying of cancer. So, your boy, the Blockbuster, AKA Hammerhead, and Mr. Okie Doke, getting the hospital IDs from the chick, the hospital chick. And he's like, oh, this don't smell right. And we just happen to have Lulu upstairs. So he makes moves and whatnot and busts him. And next thing you know, it's like he's got more leverage than Rock. He's like, you got to set up to me.
Can we talk about the fact that wig is worse than some of the Tyler Perry wigs that were in some of those movies?
So is he going to be Blockbuster? Is he going to be Hammerhead, High Rise, Scully Less? What is he going to be?
I have no clue, but Power needs to retire that wig ASAP. That was terrible. It looks nowhere near natural. But no, it's crazy because, like you said, if he wasn't out there taking a smoke break, we know what would have happened.
Lou, bye Lou.
Yeah, bye Lou. But he was there taking that smoke break, and he used that opportunity. He told Rock straight up and down, all right, look, you need to let me meet him and talk to him, and you got to tell him everything. And if you do that, within reason, I'll back off.
But then he throws some more threats behind him. And that gets things a little cooking in Rock's mind and whatnot. All right, so now we're ready to flash forward to where we're talking about Jukebox talks to Burke and says they're coming at him. They got the big dynamic scenes with, Unique firing up his boys and stuff like that. Everybody kill everyone. I don't know about kids, moms, dads, no matter age, blah, blah, blah. And then Rock is over here is like, you got to go put 2 where his heart beats at and 1 where his brain used to think. So she's telling him about the 3-shot theory, about taking the dude out totally. And so, all these things coming together, it's like, well, what's going on? Is there really a real connection? And flashing back to what happened earlier, what happened actually the last episode, when your boy bribed the guy who was up front where Unique's car was. He got into the car and he stole something. What did he steal?
He stole that jacket. He stole one of Unique's jackets that everybody knows Unique is always wearing, and it was one of his signatures. We see it resurface here.
And he's back.
on Kanan's back.
And so he's walking to the park. And I'm like, okay, what is he about to do? And then, oh, snap. He's getting ready to meet Detective Howard. And I'm like, this is not going to end well. And she's
once I saw the jacket, I already knew who was going to show up, because if you think about it, never in Power do we actually hear Kanan refer to his father as being a cop. You know, we kind of had to get to some scenario where Detective Howard is taken out of here without Kanan ever knowing that was his dad.
But this is messing up everything. And the reason why this is messing up everything, but it's not really messing up everything, is that would put a dead end to him mentoring Jukebox into becoming a cop. And that would just throw a lot of salt in the game. And although it would remove his need for bone marrow, because basically it's like, you know, streets need a body. Well, streets need some bone marrow. And looks like the streets are like, hey, thanks for the bone marrow to Detective Howard.
But how about this? Juke just told his partner that Neek was coming for the police. And if there's any cameras of anything, it's going to look like Neek was there and did it. And what are you going to think? Like, Jukebox is going to look like a hero because she's going to be the one to drop dime on Neek showing up. So
here are the two problems. You hear cacao. And then I'm like, okay, that's two probably where his heart's supposed to be beating. Although I'm not too confident on your boy's aim. But then I don't hear a third cacao. And next thing you know, in the coming attractions, your boy's in the hospital with oxygen mask on, still breathing.
Yeah, I mean, but how many people you think can, you know, when they start coughing up blood, are going to last that long? I mean, they're trying to hold on to him, but I don't think he's going to make it.
First of all, it's not realistic at all, because Street's got bone marrow. That's number one. Then in addition to that, your boy is dying, and the doc just told him he was on his last leg and needed help immediately. And he's got two big holes in his chest.
That's why I don't think he's coming back. He's got too many comorbidities. He's got too much going on. I think they're going to have him questionably live for maybe through the next episode, just on the scare tactic that if he were to ever wake up, Kanan would be implicated. But I don't think they're gonna let it go any farther than that, because he's not coming back from them two gunshot wounds.
I think he is. And I think he's actually going to make it so that Rock no longer wants to kill him. I think he's going to go ahead and cover for Kanan and say it was unique, because he knows what the deal was. He saw him wearing that jacket. He said, "That's not yours. What are you up to?" You know what I mean? So he knows what the deal is. So I think he's going to try to step up, because why? If he's alive at all, he still needs what?
Bone marrow.
And the streets ain't giving it back. The streets was talking. They like, we ain't giving it back. So he needs even more bone marrow than he used to. They're going to be like, you need two donors. So I don't know. I don't know where we're going to get the second one from. But yeah, man. So, you know, we winding it down and whatnot. The mom stuff was crazy at the church. You know, your girl Bert looks like she's about to act and make sure everything's cool, but then she's going to get the stunner. You know, your boy apparently shot by Unique, and all that's going down there. But then in the coming attractions, not only do we see Detective Howard looking like some Swiss cheese, but guess what? We see the Kanan version of Slick Rick. Who's that? Scrappy.
Oh, one eye.
Here's a little story that I need to tell. Yeah, he's back, man, and he's riding in the ride. So yeah, he's about to go to war. Remember, Rob was telling everybody, you know, he was born a soldier, he was bred a soldier, he's bred in these streets, and apparently he's just like, I'm back in there. So I guess he tagged in when Lou tagged out.
But I mean, we did see Lou wake up, so it's a possibility at some point, you know, we're gonna see Lou tag back in
next season. Let's not get him back in the next 24 hours.
No, that wouldn't make any sense. But no, we'll get him. He's gonna come back because he's pissed, and he's gonna come back with a vengeance.
But you know who else is pissed?
And Scrappy got one eye. Neek is pissed. Neek mobilized that whole army. They kill everybody that's associated with Rock. Yeah,
and you know your boy Marvin was making runs, making sure everybody had some pieces. So you know it's not gonna be just easy.
Nah, not at all.
We'll see where it goes. All right, so here we go. About to wrap it up, man. So until next week, until Eric's going to be a little bit darker than he even is right now. I think we're actually going for like a chocolate or something like that, or a latte or something. And then meanwhile, I'm probably not going to get any tan at all. I've got this here to make it seem like I'm kind of dark skinned, but I'm not. We all know. I need some melody. Help me out. All right, so for your boy E. G Money. So until next week, where you say, hey, it's a season finale. Let's get it. Holla at y'all next week. Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute for sure. By the way, it's like, you're changing colors on me, man. Right now, you're kind of matching the towel behind you. So that's an interesting look. You kind of like Mighty Tan, man. What's going on, son?
Hey, man, look, all I do is spend time outside, especially when, got all this free time nowadays and waiting to start the new gig. So spend a lot of my days at the pool, picking up a little color.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Run for president next.
Hey, politics is on the list.
There you go. That's what's up. G Money and the Thriller in Manila from Dilla. Dilla, can we get some words?
Words.
Try again.
Thanks, man.
Sounds nice.
Word up.
There you go. All right.